Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason.
What's that?
It's just that ripple effect. That karma come back quick. Do somebody wrong, you get sick. I just inspire kids, because of that maybe I get rich. Gotta see the future, be smarter than a rooster. No hookah, you focus. No drinking, no smoking, no tokens, no handouts. Everybody in the world, get your plans out. Let's do it, let's go, let's get our minds ready. We elevate intellects right here on the K-Dot Show. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl K-Dot back in the Ripple Effect. You already know what it is, and you already know the vibes. Shout out to all the supporters. Thank you very much. Appreciate everything you guys do. It can't be said enough. Listen, it's Motivational Monday. One piece of advice before I really get into it. Make sure you start accomplishing your goal today, right? What do I mean by that? I mean, even if it's just the littlest step in that direction, it doesn't matter. It's headed towards what you're trying to do. If you're trying to go back to school, fill out that college application today, right? If there's a job that you really want, start putting together that resume, start figuring out what qualifications do I need in order to obtain this job. If you want to go into business for yourself, start off by getting that LLC. You know, do your due diligence at the end of the day. Don't be left with regret. I promise you, it's worth it. It may not work in your time, and as you already know, if you're an adult, things don't work in your time frame. You may have a time frame for yourself for whatever reason, but one thing that you do need to know is that life does put you through adversity. It does put you through different tests, and sometimes you don't even understand what it is, but understand that it's building you up to get to where you want to be. I don't care what you believe in, but that's what life is doing for you, okay? And just stay the course. That's all I can tell you, is hit the ground running. If you're really serious about it. I mean, I can't really, sometimes you tell people that and they're just kind of just over the head, and then I guess it wasn't that serious. But if this is everything, when I mean everything, I mean this is everything. This is what you're put on this planet to do. If this is what you want to leave behind, your legacy, you need to be doing that. You need to be spending most time doing that. And I get it, for different reasons, maybe you can't. But start today. This should be the day that you say, hey, the year's almost over. Let me not wait for the new year, new me. Even though I know a lot of people get a lot of flack for that, for kind of saying that. And at the end of the day, I don't knock nobody. If you're trying to change, like by you saying it publicly and trying to change and trying to put that pressure on yourself, I respect you for that, honestly. I mean, it takes a lot to do that. And there's a lot of naysayers. Like, it's so easy to be a critic nowadays, right? I mean, but one thing I can tell you about critics is they're usually not the ones at the top. The ones at the top are not paying attention to nobody else. Trust me, they're in their own lane and they're looking forward. They're trying to look. They're also taking a peek back because they don't want to repeat things. But they're moving forward and they're in their own lane. More importantly, so let's get it done, right? Let's get it done. Don't waste any time. I'm telling you this for a reason, and let's get it. So Thanksgiving is coming up. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. In case I don't make any more content until then, because I have my family obligations too. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing everything that I have to do beforehand. So make sure you spend some time with your family. That's very, 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 very important. I know life is busy. I know a lot of people, are doing their own thing, and maybe they have family that's far away. But please, please, please make it your best effort to make sure you spend time with your family, because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. I know a lot of us realized that during the pandemic, right? When you literally couldn't go see people for, obvious reasons. But now, things are kind of, I don't want to say getting back to normal. I don't feel like, but they are. Like, they're back to where we need them to be. You can go travel, you can go see your family, they can come see you. Because, you just never know. And I say things like that because there's so many tragic things that are going on that I definitely want to make note of, because I'm not oblivious to it. I do understand the tragedy going on in Virginia University with those the football team. It's tragic. Shout out, prayers definitely going to the families and everybody involved. Period. Whether it's professors, the student body. It doesn't matter. It's just tragic all around that people have to. That we still live in times like this, and Colorado Springs and what just hit there. It's very unfortunate, and I hope that we're not just kind of getting desensitized by all this and kind of just saying, oh, there's another one, and then moving on about our day. I hope we're really, taking this in, and it really does hit home to the point where we want to change, right? That's where real change comes into play, when you're just tired of it, right? Like, if you ever think of like your biggest moments and where you changed and was able to overcome something, it's because you were tired of whatever it is that was old, right? You were tired of it that much that it made you want to step outside of your comfort zone, right? And do what it needs to be done. And that's all I have to say about that. It's just very tragic. Definitely prayers all around. Unbelievable, right? But getting back to happier things, Black Friday's coming up. Why do I mention Black Friday, you may ask? That's such a great question. Because I have a store on Etsy, right? So I have nice gear. I have some hoodies, I have some sweatshirts, I have some beanies because, it's cold out there. It's getting crazy out there. I also have some rain jackets, some mugs for the coffee people, you already know. And I just put a 20% discount on all of it. No limited items, no minimum buys, none of that. Everything in the store, 20%. Don't even worry about it. And if you spend a certain amount, you're gonna get free shipping. How about that? And if you guys plan on, maybe getting this for like either a gift or you want it by a certain date, please order it soon, because it's while supplies last as well. Or you don't want to have to wait until like after the holidays and things, because people are really out here shopping. That's the majority of, I feel like, what I do. It's not even my content. I kind of just come over here and just go off the cuff. But this store is, whoever is, out there and really providing for the store, I appreciate y'all. Y'all definitely keeping me busy and keeping me on my toes. I gotta design more stuff, and I really gotta get back at it. But y'all already know it's already. Let's get into this sports thing. Let's get into. First off, shout outs to Kevin Durant, right? I have to say that because at the end of the day, we're always getting on athletes for not being accountable and not doing this, not doing that, right? Everybody's a critic, but at the end of the day, I want to give praise when it's possible, right? When there's room to, I feel like I want to be that person to just sit there and just say, you know what? He deserves props for that. Now, if you don't know why, you gotta pay attention, but it's okay. I'm here to give it to you. This is what I'm here for. So Kevin Durant, as you know, on a podcast a while ago, it was actually on a show. It was Chris Haynes. So he was sitting there and he was like, listen, so what's going on? And Kevin Durant's just like, listen, like, everybody expects me to win. Like, you expect me to win with Clax, Royce and Joe Harris, like calling all these guys out by name. Like you expect me to win with these guys? Come on. Come on. Giving you like the Ben Simmons the other day during the post conference. He was like, really? Come on. Like, we ain't winning, guys. Like, we ain't winning. Like, this is what y'all gave me. This is what's going on. Y'all see all the drama. What are you talking about, right? So, Kevin Durant, and I got on him for that because I thought that was crazy. Like, you in a whole locker room, if anybody's ever been on a team, like, imagine somebody calling you out like that and then him coming in the locker room and you're like, yo, this guy. Like, I get it. You're Kevin Durant, but bro, don't do that. Don't do that. Because I know a lot about sponsorships and different things, and if you're one of the guys on those teams and you're trying to get into a sponsorship, obviously, and you're trying to elevate your game, you're not helping. When the best player in your team say, yo, my guys ain't, you messing up deals before they even get brought to the table, bro. Like, that just was not cool at all. But I had to give you the whole thing, because if you didn't see my last episode, then you're just not gonna know. So I'm trying to give you the whole thing. So anyways, but Kevin Durant did clear things up on his podcast. He was like, listen, oh man, like that that sounds terrible. He was like, I felt bad. I didn't even want to go in front of these guys. Like, it was that bad. Like, I felt bad. Like, I had to text them. I had to be like, yo, it wasn't supposed to be like that. I was actually trying to protect my guys because I wanted, you know, the media and everybody else to just kind of leave us alone and give us time to grow and kind of, you know, be the player that we were meant to be. Because right now, obviously, we're not there yet. Like, we don't have that talent, you know what I mean, that's already at its full potential. Like, the talent's there, but it just hasn't reached that potential yet. Give us time to grow, give us time to gel, give us time to move past all of the, you know, speculations and drama and everything past it. Like, let's chill, you know? And it's like, I respect that. I'm sorry. Like, I respect that because he held himself accountable. He even said, wow, like, I could have worded that better. Like, yo, Kevin Durant, like, that was huge. Like, because people are always, taking shots at him and saying, yo, he's not a leader, you know, and this is what we're talking about. Like, those are leadership skills. Like, that's something, I can't say you can't teach it, because of course you can, but you can't teach it to some people who just don't want to learn it, right? Some people are just so stuck in their ways, Zach Wilson, you know, they're just haven't reached that level of maturity yet in order to be able to get to that point where you're kind of like, yo, I wish I could have that one back, because the way that sound, and because obviously I said it and I know what I meant and I know my heart and I know where I'm coming from, but not everybody knows that. I can't expect everybody to know that. That's just crazy. And athletes always like to talk about, especially, you know, the celebrity athletes, meaning, or the elite athletes, always saying, you know, the media and everybody else is trying to dehumanize them. You know what I mean? In a way of, you know, putting them on such a level where they can't mess up. Like, they're imperfect and but they're perfect and they have to be that way every second, every minute of the day, even through adversity, even through frustration, you know, right after running up and down the court, you know, where oxygen hasn't even reached your brain yet, you know, at full capacity. You know, there's a lot expected of you, you know, and a lot of times some athletes don't help that by kind of putting themselves above all and not wanting to ever admit when you're wrong. Because if you don't admit when you're wrong and you have people acting like you're always perfect, then you kind of, you know, you're help perpetuating that narrative of yourself, whether that's true or not. I get being defensive, because that's annoying as heck. Like, who wants to keep dealing with that, right? Like, having a mic in front of your face just for people to just misconstrue it and say whatever it is that they want to say anyway. I totally get that. But the fact that Kevin Durant made himself human, he humanized himself in front of, you know what I mean? But he was in his comfort zone. He was on his podcast, which is why I said podcasts are great for athletes, because they can be able to, you know, voice their opinion in a comfortable manner where they're not worried about what they're going to say so much that it still comes out wrong anyway. You might as well just be yourself. And if it came out wrong, just say, hey, I didn't look at it that way. My bad. But Kevin Durant actually taking that responsibility and saying, listen, I messed up. Like, that was not cool. I put myself in your shoes, and the way I would have heard it was like, we're gonna have a conversation, because that's crazy for you to say. You know, you're literally trying to divide the locker room, you know, especially with, you know, Jacque Vaughn just got in there trying to, you know, reestablish the culture after Steve Nash and everything, because obviously everything was all over the place. And, you know, you have guys kind of taking on their own forms of leadership, you know, but not incongruent with the whole team, just kind of just doing their own thing. And that just shows a lot of leadership on Kevin Durant's part, by just showing ownership, putting himself in other people's, you know, shoes, seeing it from a different perspective, and ultimately taking accountability and apologizing for it and saying, hey, I wish I could have had that one back. I didn't mean that. I actually meant to protect my guys, but I actually made them look bad, and that's on me. Like, I own that. I should have said it better. And the fact that he did that, kudos to him. Like, that's what's up. That's what a leader does. Right? Do you know what leaders don't do? They don't sit there and say, after a question that was given to them that was specifically actually what could have been a home run for you. A home run as a leader, as a young leader of a New York team. When Zach Wilson decided to say, no, like, when asked if he let his defense down, not he as an individual, meaning his offense, and he is the head of such offense, right? Under the offensive coordinator, right? And under Robert, obviously, the head coach. But for him to just say, no, we didn't let the defense down. Like, 3 points was more than enough to win a game. Like come on. Excuse me. And our defense only held them to 3. Like, no, we didn't let them. No, wasn't us. Wasn't me. That's for sure. Wasn't me. Obviously, it's a bit of hyperbole. But you get where I'm going with this. How do you say no? And you know what? While we all taking accountability, I'm sorry, Jets fans. I lied to you. I'm so sorry. Like, I told you guys to pump the brakes, chill. He's young. He's still growing. He's still trying to figure it out. And that's the case with a lot of young quarterbacks coming into the league trying to figure things out, right? I mean, look at Tyler Heineke, right? He searched his whole life to try to get to this moment where he can lead a football team, and he's doing it right now. Carson Wentz is making him look like he should have been the starter all along. Like, I don't even know what y'all even looking at in preseason to make Wentz start over, Heineke. And that's just simple, right? It's all about where you're drafted. Like, Carson Wentz was drafted so high that people just have to believe that this wasn't a mistake. So the fact that you have Zach Wilson just not taking any accountability, and that stuff, I'm not going to say you can't teach it. It's just so hard to teach people things like that when they don't feel like they did anything wrong. And I'm not even trying to say he said that. But he just said it like so arrogantly, so like almost like, I don't even want to say it like an Aaron Rodgers type of arrogance, because I don't know why he would have that type of arrogance. But that's just the feeling you got from it. And, obviously on a much smaller, angle, I would say he was giving me a lot of Baker Mayfield vibes. Like, that was like the first thing I thought, because I'm just like, bruh, like, you got to show some responsibility. It can't just be everybody else. Absolutely not. You got wide receivers pretty much calling you out without calling you out, but we know it. Like, it's like Keyshawn Johnson was saying earlier. He was like, I speak receiver. I know what he was talking about. And it's not even like that you have to actually play the position, but it is good to hear Keyshawn Johnson say that, because if he said that, then, okay, so I wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people just know that, or like to say that, receivers are just, they're divas. They always want the ball and this and that. Yeah, they want the ball to get the job done. Like, yeah, some of them take it over the top? Of course. But you like it, you watch it, you comment. So stop. You help perpetuate it. So whatever. You know what I mean? And not only that, there's incentives in their contract. Like, there's incentives in your contract to do certain things. You want it too. Like, come on. Like, let's stop acting like we don't know what it is. Like, but for him to not take responsibility, and even when the coach was asked, is Zach ever going to get benched, because he's just not giving you anything? I mean, there was multiple people tweeting throughout the game like, yo, Zach Wilson is not giving you anything. When are you putting him on the bench? And I know the coach was firmly just, nope, Zach is our quarterback. Like, but listen, like, organizations are so funny, right? Because they understand the way things work. They also understand how to lie, right? Without actually lying. When you're asked a direct question like that, see, if I was them, I probably would have asked, will Zach be your starter for next game? Or for the next 6 games. That way you can kind of get him. He's still probably going to say, yeah, he is. But you know what I mean? Like, make it a little harder. But if you're just saying it in the moment, like, oh, is Zach your starting quarterback? Like, right now. Like, yeah, he is right now. I didn't have any meetings. I didn't have any coaching meetings. I didn't talk to the group. I didn't give Zach a chance to kind of, to kind of prove himself or retract what he said, whether publicly or privately. As long as you do it privately, that's all that matters. The guys in that locker room, that's the respect you need to earn, because I don't even want to know what it must have been like for him to come out of, like, to finish that post-game press conference and to come back into that locker room with him saying something like that. I mean, to be a fly on the wall, honestly, because guys were already heated, especially if you're on the offensive side of the ball. There's nobody that wants to be running around all day and not getting the ball. Like, what am I out here doing? You know what I mean? Like, that type of thing. So, the Jets have a lot more problems than I thought. I mean, I thought it was just growing pains, but if we got immaturity problems, leadership quality type problems, Zach will be running out of time. Like, he will be. Because, first of all, you're in New York. And not to mention, the Jets have a nice window, right? In terms of, they have it all. Like, when you look at different phases, that's why I told him not to worry. I'm sorry. I did tell you not to worry because I was like, if I'm the Giants, like, you know what I mean? Like, those certain pieces, those certain things, records, okay, but don't forget Giants were 8-8 when they won that Super Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just the growth within the team. What you have, the culture around you that propels you forward. Like, and when you have that moment, you strike. And it's kind of like the Bengals last year that snuck up on everybody, right? That's kind of what it is. Or even the Kansas City Chiefs when they were having that terrible, beginning of the season, and they just turned it around somehow. And everybody's surprised why they're having such a great season this year. Like, it's like you're not paying attention to what they're building here. Like, things are not always going to go as planned, but if I'm making a push, then that was the plan. You know what I mean? It just wasn't going step by step exactly, how it was supposed to be. But I don't know. But Zach Wilson, I don't know if you're going to be able to turn that around so fast, because right now it just seems like a lot of people are trying to hold him accountable and he doesn't want to hold himself accountable. And that's a bigger problem than you can ever even imagine. And speaking of problems, everybody was so high on the Vikings, and this is why, like, sometimes when you give people compliments, right? I just gave Justin Jefferson, huge compliment, just based off his game, not being, he earned that, and it wasn't even like, I just came out of nowhere with it. And a lot of people just want to talk about, him and how he went missing, just joking around and stuff, and it's like, guys, you guys gotta understand the game of football. The Cowboys defense is real. Like, it's real. I mean, just like Tony Pollard, in his running game and catching the ball in the back. Dude is real. You got to respect it, that it is what it is, right? So, how are you not going to make any adjustments? That's what the Vikings did wrong, among many other things, because they got killed, right? It wasn't even close. I felt like the whole game just wasn't even close. You can pick moments, but I felt like the Cowboys had their number. We already know where you're going with it. You just want to keep dropping back and throwing the ball deep to JJ. And guess what? You're not doing that. Look at the pass rushers. Look at who they had. Come on, man. Like, Parsons, Michael Parsons had 2 sacks? And everybody was bragging about how, the front line of the Vikings didn't give up any sacks. And I'm like, well, they ended up giving up 2 in the first half. I think that's what Micah had. And I'm like, and then you got Lawrence. I'm like, these guys were just popping them in the mouth at every chance they got. Like, they were running at him like Kirk Cousins had on all that jewelry, trying to get it. Like, it was unbelievable. And just the inability to run. I'm like, why wouldn't you guys run the ball? At no point in the game did they even really give it a try, because they were like, listen, they let you know early with that pass rush, you are not dropping the ball back on us. We're not giving up no big plays. So I'm just letting you know that, off the rip, big plays, it's not happening. The Cowboys put on a heck of a show. It was impressive, honestly. If I'm being honest, and I know when you're in the same conference, you got a favorite team in the same conference, people don't like to do that. And rightfully so. Your fandom is your level of fandom. It's cool. But it was impressive. I'm sorry. It was. Dak had a really solid, 225 yards throwing. I think he only missed 5, 22 and 25 completions. It was just solid. Why? Because they stuck to their run game. Everybody's so high on Cooper Rush, right? When he was out there. And you know what? Rightfully so. Because everybody thought the Cowboys were dead in the water. And obviously, Cooper Rush just came in and just, put his cape on and literally saved America's favorite team, right? And they need to go back to that recipe. It doesn't mean that Dak is not better than Cooper Rush or, nobody's trying to say. It's not even about the quarterback in that particular instance. It's about not getting in your own way. What makes them great? Controlling the clock, getting after the quarterback, and running the football. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. That should be their identity right there. But they didn't stick to the, you know what I mean? So it's like when you don't stick to that game plan, then you can kind of see where things kind of go awry. You can kind of see where things were not work out the way they want them to work out. And when the Cowboys lose, and you're kind of like, oh man, like this is what we feared. We're just gonna get all high on the Cowboys, and then eventually they're just gonna take themselves out. And honestly, that's probably what's going to happen, and not on some Stephen A stuff. I just mean on some people just think just because you have a quarterback like Dak that you just want him to throw it 50, 60 times. And I promise you, if he does that, then that will be the end of the Cowboys. You need to stick to what's winning you the game, and it's right there. The defense got you. You know what I mean? Like a lot of teams can't say that. Like the defense got you, bro. Like don't worry. Like that is. Whew. But when the Cowboys play like that, it's scary, and they just showed you. And they did that to what, an 8-2 team, you know, like that was scary, you know. So, yeah. So shout outs to the Cowboys fans. And that doesn't mean to go crazy. That doesn't mean to flood my inbox because y'all already woke me up like at, 6:30 in the morning talking all that. Oh, you saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I also saw my Giants and the way we lost to the Lions because we already thought that we had to win before we stepped out on that field. Lions were smart. What did the Lions do? What's their main weapon on offense? Saquon Barkley. Right. Take him out the game, they can't play. What happened? That's what happened. Golladay, had one good catch. I mean, we need a number one receiver. We need a number one receiver, Odell. Odell, are you out there? It is what it is. And you can't just keep doing the same thing. Teams already got your number. And I get it. You can only go as far as your quarterback will take you. And that's really what it is with Danny Dimes. Like, he has a ceiling. He's reached that ceiling. Dable has squeezed all the juice he could out of that lemon. Like, there's no more left. Like, I think that's where they're at. There's nothing left. And that's just unfortunate for us right now because Saquon's balling, and then all you do is need a game manager, a guy, a quarterback who can make great decisions, not necessarily throwing the ball so many times, but just even if those little passes, those screen passes, but just going for those, I don't know. But shout outs to the Lions defense, man. They had our number. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they executed. That's really what you would want if you're a coach, It's all about the execution. And Dan Campbell, what's that, 3 in a row now? You guys are doing it. Because at the end of the day, you saw how many, posts. I couldn't stand to watch his post-conference, interviews because it was just sad. Like, you felt for that man, right? Like, he's passionate. Like, you love a coach to be, that passionate, that, player type of coach that really understands the grind of the game, but also understanding what type of emotion, like what that really takes out of a guy every Sunday or so. So it is awesome to see. Definitely not at my expense, because I was definitely livid, most of that game. Not gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. Switching back off to different games because I couldn't. But at least we got a good one, right? We got to see Patrick Mahomes. Man, Patrick Mahomes, Showtime Mahomes, guy's special. Can't believe I've been on the clock, man. Come on, Patrick Mahomes already showed you what he can do in 15 seconds. You really gonna give him a minute? Come on. That's Chargers dealing with injuries. You definitely got to feel for the Chargers. Definitely had high hopes for them all season long. With injuries to not only the quarterback, you had Allen was out. Like it was just Williams. Like you guys were all over the place with it. You finally got all your guys back last night. You thought you were gonna pull off something. I think Williams came back out with an injury, and you're kind of like, oh man, here we go again. But Palmer showed up for y'all. Like if it wasn't for Palmer and Heckler, man, Austin Heckler, oh my, like Austin Heckler is like God's gift to the football team. Like just watching him go, and he's just no joke. It can't be stopped. He's going to get to where he needs to go. He's going to keep converting on those third downs. He's definitely Mr. Reliable, kind of like how Travis Kelce is to the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, you already know where 15's going with that. It was just amazing. But the most amazing thing is just watching Patrick Mahomes. Like, he just has it in him. Like, it's just magical. The way he plays, it is with such passion. It is such a feel for the game. It is with an IQ, football situational awareness, understanding how much time is on the clock, understanding where his guys are at, understanding when he needs to move his feet. Not to mention our offensive line is holding them down too. Let's get some shout outs to them, because we only mention the line when they don't protect, right? We got to mention them when they're doing a pretty decent job as well. And Patrick Mahomes is moving around pretty well. And who was it that went out? Was it Edwards-Helaire? Yeah, I was like, ooh. When they lost him, I'm like, okay, but you know what? But you have a quarterback that could throw it 50, 60 times, and you guys are still going to be solid, right? Because at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is going to make it happen. And that was just such a great game to watch, because the Chargers, they were hanging in there, but it's really hard to beat Patrick Mahomes, though. Like, it's really hard to beat him, especially when you see that he's not only matured. We saw what a young, Patrick Mahomes looks like. And in a way, it's kind of like, it kind of messes up the league, because it's kind of like watching Steph Curry shoot all those threes, right? From like 30, 35 feet, or even Damian Lillard or whatever. But at the end of the day, it kind of messes everybody's minds up, because then you think that that's what a normal quarterback looks like. Guys, we're not looking at a normal quarterback. Like, when it's all said and done, we might be talking about Patrick Mahomes as being the best QB, like, talent-wise ever. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Tom with that 7. He's got 6 more to go. But from a talent standpoint, that improv, when he, putting basketball moves in the middle of the game, like, while getting tackled for a touchdown, like, stuff like that, you can't make up. That's not normal, folks. Like, that's not normal. Giving somebody 15 seconds to put together, a winning play, a winning drive to end up, winning the game, like that's not normal, guys. Like, that's not normal. That's why when you have a new quarterback and you start to see some of these, like, little intangibles, as long as they have leadership qualities and they're protecting the football, you can figure it out. You can work with them. Remember, Joe Flacco did win a Super Bowl with the Ravens, right? Was it because he was an amazing quarterback, he was an elite, and he was doing all these great things? No, he was an average quarterback, he was a game manager, and he had a heck of a defense, and they had a run game, right? So understand that you don't need a Patrick Mahomes. Would you like a Patrick Mahomes? I would love a Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, that's not what it takes to win. It's not. It's been proven that you don't need an elite quarterback every time. You really don't. You do need elite players on, especially in your defense or in your run game. But at the end of the day, you don't need all that. So that's why when everybody just goes crazy, that's why I kind of tell them, like, calm down, like, hold on, Let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see how it's gonna move. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a limited window of time, and especially where you play. Because let's face it, where you play matters. If you play in New York, we ain't got time for that. Y'all need to hurry up, But if you're in other places where it's not so much media coverage and guys are still kind of, just just getting in the flow, and as long as the fan base is a fan of you, you're good. You're not gonna really have much to worry about, So, man, that game last night though, right? But yeah, there's a couple other notable games out there. But you guys let me know, because I'm running out of time. But you guys let me know if there's any other games that you want me to mention. I'm probably going to be back on later. We'll see how that goes. And, I only ask y'all to remember one thing. Losses equals life lessons. Peace. I'm just playing with y'all. Other notable games. We got to talk about the Eagles. I know. Fly, Eagles, fly. I know. I just didn't want to talk about that. I didn't know if I can stomach talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys having a good game, But, I got to do what I got to do, right? Because Eagles fans are starting to be a little bit more annoying than the Cowboys. Just a little bit, But I really am happy for Jalen Hurts, though, because, man, being a quarterback, being a dual quarterback, it's great, but at the same time, I feel like they catch the most criticism just because you're able to do multiple things, which is crazy, but yeah, the Eagles found a way to win, even if it was with the face mask at the end of the game. Nah, let me stop. Not lying though, but they pulled out the win. But I was like, Jeff Saturday is about to be 2-0. Like I literally said that. I was like, Jeff Saturday, heavily scrutinized for everything, and you can be on whatever side of it that you want, But I was rooting for the guy, honestly. I really was. And Philly just found a way to win. Excuse me. Refs are not going to catch everything, guys. We spoke about this. They have a 95% accuracy. I know we won 100%, but that's not human. So at the end of the day, the Philly Eagles, man, they pulled it out, and they only have that one loss, which is crazy how they lost that game to the Commanders. But you know how those divisional games are. At the end of the day, those are toss-up games. Those are games where you think, because Philly either playing at home, right? And, it's the Commanders, right? But Commanders ain't the Commanders right now. Like, they're on a whole different level right now. And that just speaks to leadership. You see why I always speak so highly about leadership and culture and taking accountability? Because those things matter. Those guys in that locker room want to play for Tyler Heineke. They did not want to play for Carson Wentz. And I've been telling y'all about Carson Wentz since he was, drafted by the Eagles. And when they were losing, and he was just kind of like, well, I've never lost like that before. Like, took this stance of kind of separating himself from the team. And I knew that was going to come back to bite him. Because at the end of the day, I was like, that's not a guy you want leading your team. I'm sure he's a great guy, outside of, the football field and all these things. And not saying that he's not on the field, but I just mean he just has a level of arrogance to him that your level of talent doesn't match. You know what I mean? Like, you can even say, like, listen, you're gonna tolerate a lot more if you're super talented. And we've seen in the league super talented guys, but yet they have drama and they have different baggage, but you keep wondering why the team keeps dealing with it. It's because they keep winning, right? It's because of their talent. When they're talented, you're able to put up with a little bit more. But if you're not, if you're not that talented, you may think you are. But I mean, reality, the real world. Everybody, if they don't think you are, you're not winning games, we have evidence of it, then they're not going to put up with it so much. And that's why I speak so much about that, because it matters. It's one of those things where you think it doesn't matter. And I'm like, listen, there's a lot of things that matter that don't necessarily show up on a stat line, because everybody wants to fixate on that, because you can do some incredible things or have sprinkles, of goodness, here and there. And at the end of the day, that's not what's going to win you games. People need consistency. You see the way some of these games are won, especially in the playoffs last year, right? In those divisional games, and those, like, they were won by a field goal. Those games were decided by a field goal. You know how crazy that is? Like this matters. Like, those little things matter at the end of the day. And it's like, the Eagles have great leadership. They have great leadership. As long as they stick to the game plan, they don't make Jalen Hurts do a ton. You don't want him getting to the point where he can throw it like all the time. You have to balance that with his rushing, kind of like how you do with Lamar Jackson, right? Throwing, rushing, like it's amazing what these guys are able to do. And Jalen Hurts is so durable. He's a big guy, right? Not going to be easy to bring down, So, yeah, I just really didn't want to have to say too many good things about the Cowboys and the Eagles, but it is what it is. Like, they had a great game. They both won. We didn't. Everybody else won in our division in the NFC East but us, It's just wondering where we're going to go from here. If there's anywhere we can go, and whether we have reached our ceiling or not. Speaking of the New York Giants, if you don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. Giants fans, holla at me. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you still see us climbing that ladder. But I don't know. I just feel like the way the emergence of the Commanders, as consistent and as unbeatable as the Eagles are starting to look, the Cowboys, sticking to what makes them good. Like it's gonna be difficult to match that. But of course, you can't give up. It's week 11. You know, I can't wait for them Thanksgiving games. I hope you guys are watching them, because you know I will be. But you already know, guys. I only ask you guys to do one thing: losses equals life lessons. Peace.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason. It's just that ripple effect. That karma come back quick. Do somebody wrong, you get sick. I just inspire kids, because of that maybe I get rich. Gotta see the future, be smarter than a rooster. No hookah, you focus. No drinking, no smoking, no tokens, no handouts. Everybody in the world, get your plans out. Let's do it, let's go, let's get our minds ready. We elevate intellects right here on the K-Dot Show. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.